I'm Nick Manning, here to tell you about ED Eliminator.
Hey Jack, I just wanted to say thanks for coming up with ED Eliminator.
Hi guys, I just want to let you know about ED Eliminator. I tried this product and I want to say it really works. It worked for me and it will work for you.
Just a few days after trying out ED Eliminator, I chucked my little blue pills in the trash because I knew I'd never need them again.
Hey, I'm Jack, and in the next few minutes, you're going to learn how to completely reverse your erectile dysfunction using a simple hard-on cocktail brewed from ingredients you can easily find online or at your local health food store for about 50 cents. It takes a couple of minutes to make, is 100% natural, has absolutely zero side effects, and is proven to work better than dangerous, expensive pills like Viagra and Cialis or painful penis injections like Trimix. It doesn't matter what age you are. This stiffy tea is 100% guaranteed to give you rock-hard erections on demand, whenever you want them, and it will give you such lasting energy and stamina that you'll be able to come over and over again without losing your wood. Now, before I get into what this hard-on cocktail is, the science behind it, and how literally any man out there experiencing erectile dysfunction can make it themselves from home, I'd first like to explain who I am and why I made this presentation. Like I said, my name is Jack. I'm a normal guy just like you. In fact, I'm pretty boring. I'm a simple man obsessed with history. That's what I do for a job. I'm a historian in my tiny little Midwestern town. And the reason I created this short video presentation and posted it online is because I want to get the word out there that your erectile dysfunction is not permanent. And you don't need to plan your sex life around the last dangerous pill you popped. Most importantly, you don't need to experience the anxiety that comes with not being able to perform. You don't need to feel that shame that washes over you when your wife or girlfriend or that cute girl at the bar starts touching you, kissing you, and getting excited just to find out you're as limp as a soggy noodle. You see, this was my reality for nearly 5 years, and to be completely honest, it ended my marriage, nearly ruined my life, and made me seriously consider ending it all, which is something I'm very embarrassed to talk about. But this video presentation is between me and you. It's for men who are in the same boat. And if I don't bear it all, tell my story, and explain to you the amazing, shocking, closely guarded solution I found in the most remote mountains of Bhutan, the solution that not only cured my ED but reversed impotence for over 16,323 men throughout the world in just the last 6 months, well, if I kept this to myself, it would simply be cruel and selfish. So, very quickly, before I explain exactly how this boner-triggering cocktail works, I first need to tear down some common ED myths. Because the root cause of ED goes against everything you've ever heard or that you've probably seen online. In fact, maybe you don't even think you have ED because you only occasionally lose your erection. Maybe you think you're too young to have it. Or it isn't that big a deal because you only get a limp dick sometimes. That's how it started for me too. The odd inability to get it up here and there. I'd make excuses, maybe I was just tired, maybe I was just stressed from work, or I wasn't in the right mindset. No big deal. Sometimes you're not in the mood for sex. I get that. Yet I was lying to myself. And if that's you, I know it sounds harsh to say, but you're lying to yourself as well. And it's not all in your head either, as many people say. It's not just performance anxiety. Contrary to popular belief, anxiety comes from ED, not the other way around. It's also not low testosterone, which is another big myth that gets thrown around. And even though testosterone does decline with age, it's not the reason for your ED. So if you've thought about getting testosterone injections, think again. Those shots may improve your libido, but it will actually thicken your blood and make it even harder for blood to flow to your penis, which is what gives you an erection in the first place. Keep in mind, more men are getting ED today than ever before, and they're getting it earlier than before. Men in their 20s and 30s have no lack of testosterone and still can't get it up, so it's obviously not that. Perhaps this sounds familiar. Maybe you experience soft or incomplete erection. These are the kind I like to call a chubby. It's hard enough to get it in, but it's nowhere near that fully engorged, stiff as steel boner you used to get. This is ED as well. Perhaps your erections start out strong, but fade within a few minutes of engaging in sex. This, too, is ED. Maybe when you have sex, you experience little to no sensation, or the pleasure you feel is a fraction of what you used to feel. Also ED. You see, ED is about much more than not getting it up. It also includes premature ejaculation. Or what if you haven't woken up lately with morning wood? This also signals the beginning of what will become full-blown ED. You see, your penis is the dipstick of your body. Just like you check the oil or transmission fluid in your car using a dipstick, you can be certain that if your erections aren't behaving normally, in any of the ways I just mentioned, there is something seriously wrong with you. Ignoring it or brushing it off won't change that. The worst thing, and most guys don't know this, is that as the condition progresses, your body will stop craving sex. And as you lose your sexual motivation, your brain literally signals to your body that it's time to die. Your body will begin breaking itself down, storing more fat, losing hair, and wasting away into nothing. Why? Because if you're not having sex and you're not able to reproduce, quite simply, on a biological level, there is no reason for you to be alive anymore. You are useless as a man at this point. Did you know that the longest living people on Earth are typically the ones who were the most sexually active throughout their life, all the way up to the end? Decades of research demonstrate that men who live in polygamous cultures, which are cultures where a man typically takes on 2, 3, 4, or more wives, outlive everyone else. One study out of the University of Sheffield in the UK showed that they live 12% longer on average. The reason is simple. They're having more sex. The more sex they have, the more sexually active they remain, the longer they live. Yet the minute you begin experiencing symptoms of erectile dysfunction is the minute your body starts losing its usefulness, or its reason for being alive. A limp noodle is a one-way ticket to an early grave. For me, my body wasting away wasn't the scary part, but my relationship wasting away, that's something I refused to accept. You see, study after study demonstrates that women who are in a relationship with men who suffer from erectile dysfunction are nearly 90% more likely to cheat or end the relationship in pursuit of another man. The reason is because, in their mind, their husband is unable to perform because of them. In one survey, 4 out of 5 women said they would leave their husband if he could not sexually satisfy them. They feel shame and embarrassment if their partner can't keep an erection, and they blame themselves. It doesn't matter how much you plead and insist that it's not their fault. The fact is, for women, relationships and sex are tied together and you cannot have one without the other. If they do not feel desired, ravished, and consumed by your sexual appetite for them, then they feel unwanted, undesired, betrayed. And this makes them unsatisfied with every aspect of the relationship and naturally drives them into the arms of other men who are able to fulfill their biological desires. This is an uncomfortable truth, but as men we know, deep down inside, that if we are unable to perform in the bedroom, we are truly no longer men. As humans, we've known this for a very long time. As a historian, I know that in France in the 1500s, women could charge their husbands with impotence. The man would then be required to show that he could become erect and ejaculate in a courtroom. If the poor guy failed, he could demand a trial by Congress where he would be observed having sex with his wife in front of experts. Now, in today's world, that would be ridiculous. But it just goes to show you that deep down inside, we, as a culture, know that a man is useless to his wife if he can't perform in the bedroom. And under these circumstances, we also know that it's only a matter of time before she leaves, or simply begins to hate the man she's with. So if you're beginning to experience the crippling effects of ED, stick with me, because this is going to be the most important, life-changing presentation you'll ever watch in your entire life. And in just a moment, I'm going to reveal everything about this stiffy tea I discovered in a strange mountaintop village in a rural part of Far East Asia, because it's going to eliminate your ED forever, guaranteed. But first I need to explain how an unusual post I read online led me down the path of discovering this fail-proof ED fix, because I think it's important for you to understand what launched me on this journey. And if you're like most people who hear this story for the first time, you might think it's the most amazing thing you've ever been told. I mentioned briefly before that my ED started in my late 20s and on into my 30s. It began with me not being able to get it up sometimes, here and there. Like I said, I thought it was just because I had a long day at work, or because I was tired and stressed, or had one too many drinks. But as time went on, it began getting worse and more frequent. It went from every now and then to nearly every time Sandra and I tried to make love. At first, she said it was okay and not to worry about it, but there was no denying the disappointment in her eyes. I hadn't realized it before, but as I progressed to the later stages of ED, I began to fully realize how much we, as men, identify with our penis. It's an extension of our ego, and it's the basis of our manhood. I'd never realized how truly strong and masculine I felt when I was able to sprout big, stiff wood at will. And of course, in my younger days, I'd get a boner if the wind blew the wrong way. I'd taken my ability to get rock-hard erections for granted. And of course, it wasn't just my ego fading away along with my ability to get an erection. It was the failure and disappointment to my partner, Sandra. ED felt like losing a lifelong friend. It felt like losing a piece of my identity that I had my whole life. It felt like losing the very thing that makes us men. The anxiety of not being able to perform became such a weight on my shoulders that I started pulling away from Sandra on purpose. I would work later nights at the office and come home when I knew she would already be in bed. I'd leave earlier in the morning before she woke up. I did anything I could to make sure I wasn't in the position where she would have time to initiate sex, simply because I didn't want to disappoint her again. I didn't want her to start kissing me and touching me, just to reach down and touch a weak, limp, lifeless dick. One night, I came home late again, thinking for sure Sandra would be asleep in bed, but she wasn't. Instead, she was waiting for me in the living room, a box of tissues next to her on the couch. Her face was red, her eyes were watering. It was clear that she'd been crying all night. Stunned at the sight of her sobbing there on the couch, surrounded by crumpled tissues, I asked her what was wrong, although I already knew the answer. She looked up at me with those big brown eyes, almost like a little puppy dog, and she said in this broken, cracked voice, "Why don't you want me anymore?" My heart absolutely sank. I rushed to her side and said that of course I wanted her, and that's when I broke down too, and confessed that I simply couldn't get it up. I told her everything, that I'd been avoiding her because I didn't want to disappoint her in the bedroom anymore. I told her how, even though I wanted to make love to her, I was incapable, and I promised her that I would make an appointment with the doctor first thing in the morning to see if there was anything I could do. The next day, I did just that. I made the appointment. I waited in the lobby. The whole time I felt ashamed and emasculated. When I was finally called in, I began to tell the doctor about my situation. 10 seconds into it, he scribbled something on a notepad, ripped off a prescription sheet, handed it to me, and ushered me out of his office. I'm sure you can imagine what the prescription was for. Yes, that little blue miracle pill, Viagra. I thought perhaps there was some other solution, but he was the doctor, so what else could I say? And besides, I'd seen the advertisements everywhere, and it seemed to work for all the happy couples in the commercials, so why not give it a try? The more I thought about my new little blue pills, the more optimistic I became. Maybe ED didn't have to destroy my life and my relationship with Sandra after all. Maybe I'd been worrying over nothing. I simply needed to pop a pill and we'd be good to go. That's not so bad, right? That night I gulped down my first Viagra. And 20 minutes later, Sandra and I were going at it like rabbits. We screwed each other's brains out. But that's when the problems started. After we both climaxed, she rolled over satisfied, and I rolled over, feeling nauseous with a gigantic headache. It felt like there was a little man inside my head whacking me between the eyes with a sledgehammer. Confused, I rolled over and began to read the label on the bottle. I got to the part about possible side effects: diarrhea, dizziness, flushing, headache, heartburn, mild temporary vision changes, blurred vision, sensitivity to light, stuffy nose, upset stomach. I have to admit that scared me, and out of all of the times in my life that I've had sex, this was the only time I felt miserable afterwards. Yet, I thought, if Sandra is satisfied, then I'll endure it. For her. Over the next few months, Sandra and I started having much more frequent sex, and I started having much more frequent side effects. Since you have to take Viagra at least 20 minutes before sex, we often had to schedule our playtime. And even then, you're not guaranteed to get it up, especially if you ate a meal anywhere within the last hour or two before you took the pill. If things started getting hot and heavy on the couch during an evening of Netflix, I'd have to pause, take a pill, and wait 20 minutes to an hour before we could actually do anything. And then, I was having sex while drowsy, a little dizzy, sick to my stomach, a weird stabbing pain in my chest, and always that throbbing headache, which would explode into a full-on migraine if I couldn't finish. That's one of the other rotten side effects they don't tell you about. Sometimes, I'd screw to the point of total exhaustion, but I just couldn't climax. Then, there was the cost. Viagra wasn't covered by my insurance, and very few insurance companies cover it. So I was paying nearly $16 a pill. That comes out to $500 for 30 pills. So basically, it was like making myself sick with the flu and a brain-splitting headache and paying $16 every time I wanted to have sex with my wife. I would have kept gritting my teeth and suffering through it as long as it made her happy. The thing is, though, she seemed to be withdrawing more and more. As time went on, I could feel Sandra pulling away from me. She just wasn't there anymore when we made love. I tried to talk to her about it, but she blew me off and told me everything was fine. It felt like we were back at the beginning. Then one evening, Sandra left to run an errand at the grocery store, and I noticed she had left her laptop open. She'd been spending a lot of time on her laptop lately, and even though it wasn't my intention to snoop, I couldn't help but read the first couple of lines on the screen, then the next line, and the next. Before I knew it, I was sitting at my wife's laptop reading what looked like a post on a woman's only forum. The title said, "Help! I'm living with a husband that has erectile dysfunction. I've been living with my husband now for over 20 years, and everything is perfect, except our sex life. It feels like everything revolves around his dick, and the fact that his dick doesn't work. Our sex life is centered around him having to take a pill, wait at least 20 minutes, and then we can have sex. If he is spontaneous and takes the pill without telling me, we have to have sex whether I want to or not, because the medicine makes him feel really bad if he doesn't ejaculate. Our sex life is zero about me. It is all about my husband and his dick. There is no way to explain what ED is doing to me. I feel that the core of who I am or who I was, is sexually destroyed. My self-esteem, my self-worth, my sex drive, and my feelings around intimacy all feel scarred. I don't get to have sex when I want to. I don't get to make out with my husband and have sex if we feel like it. My whole sex life is now centered around a little blue pill with a 20-minute wait. 20 minutes may not seem like a long time, but if you are hot and heavy, and then you have to hold on for 20 minutes, it just ruins the moment. Not to mention being in this crazy hot moment with your husband, and you reach over and his dick is just soft as a sponge. It's a damaging blow to my heart, and it's impossible to not take it personally. So I continue to be supportive. All the while I feel like I'm slowly dying inside. I don't know what to do. I was crushed. By using this artificial so-called treatment, I was just making matters worse. I was damned if I did, and damned if I didn't. As I heard Sandra walk through the door, I quickly retreated from her laptop, and as she greeted me with a smile that I now knew was fake, I fought back tears and pretended like I hadn't seen anything. That night, I lied awake. My head was racing, and, although I'm not proud of it, I began to cry into my pillow. I felt as though all of my self-worth was gone, like my purpose in life had disappeared. And that's when some very poisonous thoughts started flooding into my head. Maybe she's better off without me. Or maybe, I thought, I should just end it all. The next day, I dragged myself into the office. I work as a local historian for my town, which many would see as a boring job. But for me, the only time I truly feel alive is when I'm immersing myself in history. It's like reading an interesting story, or watching an action-packed movie, or being a detective on the case. And the best part is, all of it's true. Now, I don't know if you believe in destiny or a higher power or anything like that, but what happened to me that morning at the office, in my opinion, is nothing short of a miracle. You see, a colleague of mine who specializes in Far East history, especially medical texts from China, Tibet, and Southeast Asia, strolled into my office. I hadn't seen him in over 5 years. He told me he was in town for a few days and wanted to see if we could grab lunch and chat. Welcoming the distraction from my personal problems, I agreed, and we went off to a diner down the road. Eventually, our conversation steered toward what we'd been working on, and that's when he told me about an incredibly rare manuscript written by a Tibetan Buddhist monk in the mid-1400s by the name Nyamni Györgyi. This medical text roughly translated to mean, instructions on a myriad of medicines. And according to my friend, it contained an extremely interesting section about male sexual power. I asked him, or perhaps begged him is a better word, if he had translated the entire book. He said he had. My excitement couldn't be contained as I begged him for a copy of the full translation. He was a little surprised, since ancient Eastern medical texts weren't my area of expertise, but nonetheless, he handed me a copy of the translation. After I thanked him and paid for my tab, I rushed back to my office, locked the door, and immediately found the section. And what I read rocked my world forever. It said, in this world, sexual bliss is the most marvelous of all pleasures, the essence of the enjoyment of all senses. Among the recipes which increase libido in the treatise of 8 branches, the Astanga Shastra states, Yartsa Gunbu. I paused for a moment. What is Yartsa Gunbu? I jotted down the words and read on. Concerning this medicinal substance, it grows in beautiful mountain regions on remote grass-covered slopes. In summer, it is a blade of grass on a worm similar to the leaf of mountain garlic. The flower resembles a silken green sedge. The root resembles cumin seed at the end of autumn. The taste is sweet. All of this seemed like a strange riddle to me, but I wanted to know exactly what this Yartsa Gunbu actually did for sexual power, so I continued scanning the text for clues. That's when I read, in particular, it increases especially semen. It serves best for the purpose of libido, increasing offspring, and improving vitality. It completely sharpens the 5 sense faculties. It has innumerable qualities. To praise it in words would be endless. You will enjoy the delight of hundreds of thousands of beautiful women. It seemed as if this Yartsa Gunbu was some kind of ancient 100% all-natural form of Viagra, but the information wasn't enough for me to pinpoint exactly what this substance was, and if it even actually existed. That's when I turned into kind of a madman. I began pulling every book and resource I could find to cross-reference mentions of this mythical Yartsa Gunbu, this magical dick-hardening elixir that made you into a sexual superman who could apparently delight hundreds of thousands of beautiful women. And what I found next changed my life forever, and will change your life today. I found out that Yartsa Gunbu is, in fact, real. Not only that, it's been used regularly to cure erectile dysfunction for over 2,000 years. I found references of it in 17th and 18th century texts when it began being imported to China from Tibet. In one issue of an old British newspaper from 1876 called The Colonies, it was written that this 100% natural ED cure is reputed to possess strengthening and renovating qualities, but on account of its scarcity, it is only used in the palace of the emperor or by the highest mandarins. This ED cure was so sought after that the richest and most powerful ruling elites of China tried to keep it all to themselves. Because of the secretive nature of Asia, I had no idea where I could find this elusive ED cure until I visited one of the strangest countries on the planet. You see, I was so desperate to find out about Yartsa Gunbu that I spent what little money I had on a plane ticket to Nepal. I knew from the texts I had read that this ED cure was found somewhere in the Himalayas, high up in the mountains. After wandering around for days, looking in local markets and consulting guides, I finally came across a man who told me to go to a little neighboring country called Bhutan. He said, "It's there that you will find what you seek." So I took a long, bumpy van ride to neighboring Bhutan, and when I stepped out of the van, I felt like I'd been transported back in time to some ancient culture. As I walked the streets of this mysterious place, I was in awe. All around me, nearly everywhere I went, I saw giant, erect penises. They were painted on buildings and on the doors of homes. Statues were erected on every corner. Pottery, pendants, necklaces, and even keychains all had giant, throbbing, erect penises painted on them. I checked into a tiny hotel, and thankfully the shriveled old man at the front desk spoke some English. I asked him why penises were painted everywhere, and he simply said, "It is our religion." This shocked me even more. Here I was in this tiny, little-known country that apparently worshipped penises. The old man told me to go to a monastery called Lakang. The next morning, I did just as he said. I hired a guide, and after a sweaty 3-hour trek through the jungle, we arrived. That's when a little smiling man in a red robe immediately walked up to me, bowed, and whacked me on the head with a giant penis. I was shocked and angry, but after calming down I learned that this was a good luck charm. The monks at this temple used a large wooden phallus, which they knock you over your head and shoulders to bless you with healing powers. The wooden phallus itself is said to have been carved by a man named Drukpa Kunli. I learned that Drukpa Kunli was a 16th century Buddhist monk, nicknamed the Divine Madman, and his life consisted of wandering around the countryside of Bhutan and preaching enlightenment. He said the path to enlightenment could be found through the use of the Flaming Thunderbolt. Now, I've heard a lot of clever nicknames for a guy's Johnson, but Flaming Thunderbolt, that takes the cake. This monk became so famous in Bhutan that hordes of women sought him out for his thunderbolt and paid him in, get this, beer. In other words, the entire religion of Bhutan is based around a man who had sex with thousands of women and drank a lot of beer. After learning this, I asked the head monk, but how did this man, who lived to be very old, have the ability to have sex with so many women so often? The monk replied, "Yartsa Gunbu." My jaw dropped. This is what I had been searching for. "Can you show it to me?" I asked. He pointed me in the direction of a local market and told me I could find it there. And sure enough, there in that bustling market was the Yartsa Gunbu I had first read about in the ancient 15th century Tibetan Buddhist medical text. This is what it looked like. Yartsa Gunbu translates into winter worm, summer grass. It's created when a creepy crawly worm, called the ghost moth, burrows underground during the winter. Some of these ghost moths become infected with a parasite that begin to eat the moth from the inside out, hijacking its brain and causing it to burrow up to just below the Earth's surface. Then, when the snow melts and summer begins to come around, a fungus grows out of the top of the ghost moth's head and pokes through the dirt. Tibetans first learned about its powers after their yak herds, who grazed in the fields, would be driven into a sexual frenzy after eating these little mushrooms in the ground. The yak herders also noticed that these yaks had almost supernatural strength and endurance and could march much further without getting tired. It's said that one of the greatest conquerors in history, Genghis Khan, used this mushroom to have sex with literally thousands of women. Genghis Khan was so virile that genealogists say that 1 in every 200 people on the planet today are his direct descendants. His son, Kublai Khan, used this same mushroom with his harem of 7,000 women, who were cycled through his bedroom every night, allowing him to sire literally thousands of children, even into his old age. This is the mushroom that the Divine Madman of Bhutan, who created an entire religion around his flaming thunderbolt, used to have sex with thousands of women as well. And this is the same mushroom that the Chinese elite had kept secret from the masses for over 200 years. So, I bought a handful of this Himalayan Viagra and brought it back with me to the United States, excited to try it out. I was told to ground the mushrooms up and brew it in a tea, which is exactly what I did. It only took me a couple of minutes to make it. I sat down next to my wife on the sofa with my fresh cup of stiffy tea, as I've come to call it, and drank it down. Then I waited. And oh boy, I tell you, I didn't have to wait long. I began to feel a surge of energy all throughout my body, and an intense tingle down there, if you know what I mean. I turned to my wife and almost attacked her like a wild animal in heat. And right there on the couch, with no 20-minute wait, with no pounding headache or queasy stomach, and with a youthful virility I thought I had lost forever, my wife and I made the most passionate love we made in years. But the fun didn't stop there. Only about 5 to 10 minutes after our first session, I was as hard as a rock again. My energy was up, and I was ready to go again. We had sex like that over 5 times, all the way until the wee hours of the morning. Felt like a teenager again. And even when I woke up, after only a couple of hours of sleep, where I'd normally be tired and exhausted, I was wide awake. And guess what? I had morning wood. I stepped out of bed with my soldier at full attention, something that hasn't happened since I was in high school. The next few days were the happiest I had been since I could remember. I found that simply drinking this hard-on cocktail in the morning allowed me to gain an erection at will, anytime during the day. Unlike Viagra, my erection wasn't forced. It was natural, without any side effects. But the difference was that I could actually get it up when it was time. And even though my libido was going wild, it was more like the libido I had when I was in my late teens and early 20s, where I was hungry for sex, but I could control it until the right time. My wife Sandra didn't have to worry about getting intimate and waiting for me to take a pill anymore. We could be spontaneous again. We could be natural again. Yet, as my supply began to diminish, I started to worry. Would I have to fly all the way back to Bhutan's street markets every time I needed a fresh supply of this natural Himalayan Viagra? I simply didn't have the money for that. So, I began to look for ways I could get this miracle ED reversing mushroom shipped to me. But what I found out next almost made me lose all hope. I learned that China had a stranglehold on Tibet's supply of this miracle ED cure. In fact, ever since the Communist Party took over Tibet, they've been controlling the harvesting. I was simply lucky enough to find some in the market. Usually it's impossible. Chinese demand has caused Yartze gunbu to become so rare and scarce that the price has skyrocketed. In fact, 1 pound can cost $40,000 to $50,000 or more. It is the most expensive and prized ED cure in China. It's literally worth more than gold. My heart sank and I became frantic. I had finally discovered the solution to my ED problems. My life was back on track, my manhood had come back from the dead, my marriage had dramatically improved, and I felt like I had a new chance at life. Yet, even if I could afford to spend $40,000 on a fresh supply, I'd have to spend months getting a special permit to import the stuff into the United States for just a month's worth. And even if I could scrape together another $2,000 for a round-trip ticket to Bhutan, the chance was 1 in a million I'd be able to find any more in the markets there. And even if I did, I would only be able to take a limited amount back with me without a special permit. I tried searching for any location in the United States that sold this miracle ED cure, but the only place I found was a little tiny apothecary in New York City's Chinatown, and it costed $1,300 for an ounce. It seemed like all hope was lost, until I started researching exactly what makes this Himalayan Viagra work the way it does. I found there is one special property in Yartze gunbu that gives it its special ED reversing powers, and that there's only one other similar type of fungus that has almost the exact kind of chemical makeup, and it's located right here in the United States. In fact, you can buy it in bulk because it's grown and manufactured in labs, and you can buy a month's supply for about 50 cents a day. I immediately ordered a month's supply and tried it out, and even though the results were similar, they weren't quite as strong or as predictable. So I began supplementing with different herbs and foods, using myself as a human guinea pig, until I finally found the perfect combination of herbs, amino acids, and 2 special fruits that create the exact same results as the incredibly rare and expensive Yartze gunbu mushroom does. In other words, I cracked the code and completely eliminated my ED naturally. Yet, I couldn't be absolutely sure this was the ultimate solution to ED that would be 100% effective for any man, no matter what stage of erectile dysfunction he's in. So I wrote down my own boner brew recipe, along with everything I'd learned about how to restore penile sensitivity, sex drive, sexual performance, and increasing blood flow to the penile chambers. And I shared it with a private test group of men. Soon, they were sending me rave reviews, like this one. Jack, you are the man. Just want to say thank you. And my wife Shirley thanks you too. We feel like a couple of newlyweds again, and we're enjoying the best sex we've had since we can remember. You've got me feeling like a young, strong, virile man again, and it's something I wish for every man my age. Thomas L., Naples, Florida. That got me thinking. It would just be flat out wrong to keep these secrets to myself. So I turned everything I knew into a step-by-step, easy-to-use manual that I call ED Eliminator. This quick read is 100% pure content without any fluff, scientific jargon, or any technical stuff at all. It's just what you need in order to reverse your ED and nothing else, period. At first, I did no marketing whatsoever. My manual spread by word of mouth, but almost overnight, its popularity took off like a rocket. That's when reviews started pouring in from men all over the world. In fact, I don't know if you watch pornography, but I've had several professional male porn actors approach me, telling me how this natural erectile dysfunction solution saved their careers. Male porn actors are under immense pressure to get hard, stay hard, and come multiple times, often over 3, 4, or 5-hour shoots. And if they're not able to do that, their career and source of income is over. In fact, let me introduce you to a personal friend of mine, the famous adult film star Michael Stefano. I can promise you, whatever issues you've got going on with your manhood right now, his ED nightmare was 1,000 times worse. Please note, the following clip does contain mature language, so please make sure you're not in a professional environment or around your wife, girlfriend, or kids.
Hey, I'm Michael Stefano, and I want to give a shout out to my good friend Jack at ED Eliminator. You might have seen some of my work. I've done over 3,000 scenes with the hottest girls in the adult film industry, and I'm a member of the Adult Video Hall of Fame. I got paid to have sex with women like Alexis Texas, Rachel Starr, Roxy Giselle, Brianna Love, Jada Fire, Taylor Rain, Tori Black. But what you probably don't know about me is that I suffered a devastating injury at the peak of my career. It forced me into retirement. The doctors told me that I would never be able to get hard again. Long story short, I was shooting a scene in Brazil with 2 girls, and due to the jet lag and the heat and a bunch of other crazy shit that was going on, for the first and only time in my career, I let someone shoot up my cock so I could finish the scene. It was the biggest mistake of my life, bro. My dick swelled up like a balloon. It turned black. I've never felt so much pain in my life. I got rushed to some shithole hospital in Brazil where they had to take a needle about this big and drain about a quart of blood out of me. It was like a horror movie, bro. My cock was supposed to be useless after that. And it pretty much was for a long time. But then I met Jack, and he told me about his simple little hard-on cocktail that he used to fix his own situation. And he showed me a bunch of other tricks too. Soon, I was back at the top of my game, shooting 2, 3, even 4 scenes a day, bro. I'm now 47 years old, and I'm able to get hard and stay hard even better now than I did 20 years ago. I don't use pills or pumps, and no way would I ever let another needle anywhere near my dick. I only have one secret to this day, and it's called ED Eliminator.
Thanks, Mike. And he's not the only adult film superstar to send in a rave review. Nick Manning himself just sent in a video. At 49 years old, he's going 10 times stronger than most guys half his age.
Hi, I'm Nick Manning, here to tell you about ED Eliminator. I'm a member of the Adult Film Hall of Fame, and I've delivered legendary performances with thousands of beautiful women, on and off camera. Women like Janine, Savannah Sampson, Olivia Del Rio, Hannah Harper, Mercedes, Kira Kenner, Christy Mack. Now let me ask you, is your cock strength not what it used to be? Does it feel like you can't get as rock hard as you used to? Is your sex drive low? Or can you get hard but can't keep it hard long enough? How about your sensitivity down there? Does it feel like it's not as sensitive as it used to be? And most importantly, do you ever feel like you disappoint women in bed? That you aren't giving them the kind of fucking they really need? Well, let me tell you about the secret weapon I depend on to get raging hard-ons, on command, and keep my wood until the job is done, often with 3 or 4 different women a day. It's called ED Eliminator, and it's the all-natural fix that's helping thousands of regular guys to become rock-hard studs and enjoy the best sex of their lives. It'll get you hard as a rock whenever you want, keep you hard as long as you want, and let you recharge fast so you can go round after round.
So imagine, if this simple 50-cent hard-on cocktail is the secret weapon of famous porn stars, whose livelihoods depend on getting rock hard on command, and staying fully firm over and over again, day after day, just picture how it will turbocharge your sex life and make you the man of every woman's secret fantasies. Now, I don't know about you, but I have no interest in being a porn star. There's only one woman in my life, and that's my wife Sandra. However, I do think the fact that my Stiffy Tea recipe is being used by certain male members of the adult film industry says a lot. If they're depending on it to perform like raging super studs, you can imagine how effective this is for everyday men out there, like you and me.
Hey Jack, I just wanted to say thanks for coming up with ED Eliminator. I was kind of like most guys. I thought that this problem was just something that you have to adjust to and accept when you reach a certain age, but now I know that that's just not true. I feel like a 25-year-old again, and my girlfriend is even happier about it than I am.
Hi guys, I just want to let you know about ED Eliminator. I tried this product and I want to say it really works. It worked for me and it will work for you. I had no idea there was an all-natural way to fix this problem yourself. ED Eliminator did more than just fix it. You know, I can actually last longer now and go for more rounds than I ever did before. It feels amazing. I never have to worry about performing anymore because you know what, I'm always ready to go.
In just the last few months, ED Eliminator has changed the lives and restored the manhood of 16,232 men throughout the world. This includes men of all ages, from guys in college who are starting to have those odd bonerless days, or who were blowing it too soon, all the way up to guys in their golden years who haven't seen their soldiers stand at attention for decades. ED Eliminator has worked for all of them without fail, just like it worked for me. Even guys who have stage 4 ED, which is the very worst case of ED there is, where they're completely soft and were even told by doctors they'd probably never get it up again, have seen their sex lives spring magically back to life. That's how potent and reliable this formula is. And the best part is, it comes with absolutely zero side effects. Well, actually, there is just one side effect, and that's improved strength and vitality. I'll tell you one thing, if you're a big coffee drinker, this may completely shut you off of the stuff forever. There's just no need for caffeine anymore. Perhaps you're married like me, and you're tired of the shame that comes with impotence, and sick of the disappointment on your wife's face. Maybe, like many men out there, you've even lost a woman you loved because of your ED, or are about to. Or maybe you're single right now, and have avoided going out and playing the field because your erections are so unreliable you can't stand the shame and embarrassment that comes with yet another limp noodle night with a girl you just met. Perhaps you've been ejaculating prematurely, or losing your erections in the middle of sex, which are also signs of ED. Or you get performance anxiety sometimes, like over 70% of other men, and you want that extra nudge that will make you perform like a sex god in bed every time like clockwork. No matter your ED scenario, this step-by-step manual is not only going to work for you, it's going to transform your sex life to a point you never thought was even possible. No more pills, no more pumps, no more injections. No more shame, disappointment, or stress. If you have ED, you have the power now, right here, to get rid of it forever, guaranteed. In a moment, I'll show you how to get your hands on this easy-to-use, drop-dead simple manual, which is designed to get you back to performing at full capacity, and then some, within just a few minutes of receiving the information. But first, let me share with you a few other things I've included that will help to restore your sex drive and improve your sexual performance. Inside the ED Eliminator manual, you'll discover my Stiffy Tea recipe that you can create in just a few minutes for less than 50 cents, with ingredients that are easy to find at your local health food store or delivered straight to your doorstep. The primary ingredient is the same one found in Yartsa gunbu, the world's most prized, expensive, rare, and sought-after mushroom in the world, worth more than gold due to its guaranteed ED reversing abilities. Imagine the look on your lover's face when she feels your hard as a rock erection, and how astonished she'll be as you stay hard for hours, screwing her brains out again and again. And imagine the money you'll save, not having to spend hundreds or even thousands of dollars on pills, pumps, or painful injections that come with crippling side effects. You'll also discover my Pop a Boner solution, which is the easy-to-swallow capsule version of my Stiffy Tea. This way you don't have to mix any ingredients, and can just pop a simple pill filled with 100% natural ingredients in the morning on your way to work, just like you would a daily vitamin. Like most of the men who have drank this potent boner brew, you may find yourself shocked when you get hard at just the thought of having sex without any touching required. Have to rub one out in secret 1, 2, or even 3 times a day just because you're so rock hard and horny, and still be down for a hot and heavy romp in the bed later that night. Come on demand, or go as long as you want. Go strong all night long without getting worn out, and still have plenty of energy to get through the day and do it all again. burst with higher volume orgasms that shoot across the room. Lengthen your penis by up to 2 inches and watch the overall girth of your penis expand. This is because the chambers in your penis that fill up with blood will be fully engorged, making your dick bigger and dramatically extending the length. It was such an amazing feeling to watch my wife's eyes light up right before she asked, did it get bigger? Have more fun and get creative in the bedroom. Go doggy style, reverse cowgirl, missionary, any position you can imagine without worrying that you'll lose your erection. Many men with what's called low-level ED find that they can only do 1 or 2 positions, or else they'll lose their wood. But with ED Eliminator, that will no longer be a problem. Attract more women than you ever thought possible. Now, you may be married like me, so you need to be careful, but it's an indisputable fact that when a man's libido is high, he gives off sex pheromones that make him irresistible to women. So you're going to have to restrain yourself when women are paying you extra attention. Now, if you've made it this far in the presentation, you may have a few questions, such as, how can I get access to this right now? How much is this going to cost? Is this guaranteed to work for me? I'm going to answer each one of those questions for you in just a moment. But first, I have one very important question for you. If you could end the shame and terror that comes with having ED for good, jolt your manhood back to full power for good, and give yourself and your partner the most intense, mind-blowing orgasms you've ever experienced, what would it be worth to you? How much would it be worth to get back the confidence and masculinity that comes with knowing you're walking around with a loaded pistol in your pants, ready to get rock hard at a moment's notice, and penetrate any woman for hours on end with no chance of going limp during sex? In other words, what is a working penis actually worth to you? Could you even put a price on it? If you're like most men, you'd almost rather die than live without it. That's why men all over the world spend thousands and even tens of thousands of dollars on pills, dangerous life-altering surgeries, and artificial erections that do absolutely nothing to address the root cause of ED, and just give you a bunch of miserable side effects in the process. It's why Yartsa Gunbu was kept secret for hundreds of years. It's why the communist Chinese took it over to keep it for themselves. It's why that tiny little mushroom sells for $50,000 a pound and is worth more than precious gold. Men everywhere are willing to practically sell their souls and go into debt in the process just to keep their penis from becoming nothing more than a limp noodle they drain their bladder with. How much would you pay to know with 100% certainty that you can get rock hard on command for the rest of your life, no matter your age, and enjoy mind-blowingly intense, passionate, sensation-filled sex that makes your wife or girlfriend brag to her friends about it? Intelligent men have told me they couldn't dream of putting a price tag on turning their limp dick into a steel rod. Many of the men who have experienced the miracle of ED Eliminator firsthand have told me they'd gladly shell out thousands of dollars for access to this program. But because you're on this page right now, I'm going to practically give you this proven program for a fraction of that. Do you see that button below this presentation? When you click that right now, you'll get immediate access to ED Eliminator, and you can read it on literally any device, on your computer, phone, or tablet. You can print it out if you want to. And you won't be paying $40,000 like a pound of raw Yartsa Gunbu costs from the Himalayas. You won't be paying $1,997, which is what one doctor quoted me for, quote, ongoing ED treatment costs. You won't even pay the $500 that a month's supply of Viagra costs. Heck, you won't even be paying the $197 many of those in my test group paid for early access to this program. Instead, your only investment into a life filled with rock-hard erections and wild, passionate sex on demand is the minimal amount you see below this video. That's all you will pay when you click the button below. Nothing is being shipped to you in the mail. No embarrassing package will show up at your door. You get total, instant access, just seconds from now, so you can use these secrets tonight. And to make sure your order is kept totally confidential, because your privacy is very important to me, your billing statement will simply say ClickBank. That's the name of the secure online retailer that's going to instantly process your order. Nothing about ED or ED Eliminator will appear on your statement. Over the course of a month, the cost of this fail-proof program breaks down to less than the price of a small cup of coffee per day. And just in case you still aren't thinking this is the biggest can't-miss opportunity you've seen in a long time, let me make this a complete no-brainer for you, okay? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take all the risk off your shoulders and put it on me. Now, I know that ED Eliminator is going to put an end to your erectile dysfunction. No matter what stage you're at or how long it's been troubling you, and hand you back your firm, rock-hard, powerful, long-lasting erections for good. The reason I know is because it worked for me and for over 16,000 other men, including some of the top male porn stars in the world. And this is why I simply don't want your money if the information in this program doesn't work for you. That's why I'm going to offer you my rock-hard 60-day money-back guarantee. If at any time during the next 60 days you want your money back for any reason, all you have to do is send an email to my friendly 24-hour customer support team. Yes, this program has gotten so popular I had to hire a few folks to be available in case you have any questions. Once you complete your order and go to our private members-only download page, you'll be able to view the ED Eliminator program, and you'll see our customer support email address so you can ask us about anything you need. And if for some reason you aren't wildly thrilled with this program and how it turbocharges your manhood and lights up your sex drive, you can send us an email at any time over the next 60 days and receive a full refund. No questions asked. I'll even let you keep the program just to thank you for giving it a try. The only reason I'm able to make you this bulletproof, rock-hard guarantee is that I'm super confident you're going to join the thousands of men who are sending in emails every day to thank me. Guys like these. This program is like the fountain of youth for sex. My lover, who is 17 years younger than me, is now having a hard time keeping up with me in the sack, and it used to be the exact opposite. But she isn't complaining, trust me. We're having a blast every night, sometimes 2 or 3 blasts, if you know what I mean. Walt M., Oregon. My erections are back to full power, and so is my confidence and overall energy. ED Eliminator did a lot more for me than just fix my softness problem. I feel like a man again, in every way. Jake H., New York. Here's another email that just came in. I thought my days of having sex multiple times per day were long gone. But after following your tips, I can perform like I did 20 years ago. Goodbye, little blue pills. Martin J., Toronto, Canada. So, if you want to get back strong erections and leave your partner glowing with ecstasy and bliss as you bring back the wild sexual passion and excitement you had as a teenager, then you need to act now. Just click the button below. On the next page, you'll see our secure order form. Here's what it looks like. You simply type in your details, click the yellow button that says Pay Now, and you'll be taken immediately to our private members page. Your information will be kept 100% confidential, and you'll have instant access to ED Eliminator. I firmly believe that you're going to look back at this decision today as one of the most important and life-changing decisions you've ever made. Today, everything changes. And since you've watched this far, let me sweeten the deal for you even more. For a limited time only, I'm also going to give you 5 free bonus reports, which, on their own, are valued at over $397. Bonus report number 1 is called 21 Ways to Blow Her Mind in Bed Every Time. Believe it or not, there is a huge difference between simple attraction and deep addiction. When a woman becomes sexually addicted to you, it's like you become the world's most powerful drug to her. When she's away from you, all she can do is think about you. She counts the hours, minutes, and seconds until she can see you again and rip your clothes off. In this value-packed report, you're going to learn 21 ways to blow her mind in bed, which is exactly how to create the deep-seated sexual addiction in your partner. I have to warn you, though, this can get tricky. Whenever you are not around, she'll often fantasize about you, touch yourself, maybe even take naughty pictures and then send them to you while you're at work. It can get, well, distracting to say the least, especially when she wants you morning, noon, and night. These powerful but simple-to-use 21 sex secrets are your key to blowing her mind in bed every time and getting her deeply and passionately addicted to you. Then there's bonus report number 2. Be a marathon man tonight. Have you ever had problems with blowing it too quickly? Perhaps you're like I used to be, and it's always hit or miss. Sometimes you ejaculate too quickly, and other times you have a tough time finishing. Well, when I was in Bhutan, I met a spiritual leader who was a master of what's called Kundalini Yoga. He taught me several super simple, incredibly useful techniques to last as long as I want in bed, no matter what, and finish when I'm good and ready. Most guys have no idea about these techniques because they think they have no control over this part of their body. But if you just follow along with the techniques in this report, you'll be armed with the powers of marathon stamina, and you can control your ejaculations just as easily as you control how fast you walk. Oh, and one more thing. Have you ever given your lover an orgasm so powerful and pleasurable that it literally gushes out of her, making her quiver and tremble from her very core? If not, then this next free report is going to have her thinking you're the sex god of her wildest fantasies. Bonus report number 3 is called Squirting Mastery because, let's face it, not all orgasms are created equal. The squirting orgasm for a woman is the most pleasurable release a woman can possibly feel. It's the pinnacle gold standard of orgasms, and yet barely any women in the world will ever experience it in their lives. This has led people to believe that many women are simply incapable of it, but that's not true. All women can squirt, and now you can be her personal guide to pleasures beyond anything she can imagine. Imagine the stunned and delighted look on her face when you are the first and only man to give her a full-body orgasm so explosive that she squirts across the room. She won't even be able to believe it. Just a quick warning here. I wouldn't use this technique on a woman unless you're in a relationship with her or want a serious relationship with her, because this orgasm is so mind-blowing and addictive that it can make women crazy, knowing the chance is 1 in a million that a man will ever be able to do that to them again. So please, only pull this one out of your bag of tricks for that special someone. Then there's bonus report number 4. How to dirty talk your way to the best sex ever. Believe it or not, all women love to be talked dirty to, but they just don't know how to tell you. Women are told their entire lives that they should be good girls. And as men, it's easy to see this image they project and fall for it, never understanding that there's a dirty, kinky, hidden slut underneath the surface that is just screaming to be let out. It's up to you to do it, but most guys are scared senseless to talk dirty because they either don't know how, or they're afraid their partner will think they're weird, when the truth is, a woman's biggest sexual organ is her mind, and you can make her go to places she never thought was possible, using the power of words. In this revealing report, you'll learn simple words that will let you drop the silent sex and turn your sessions into dirty, kinky, off-the-wall romps that leave you both gasping for breath at the end, wondering what just happened. Bonus report number 5 is Porn Superstar Sex Secrets. This final report in your free bonus package is perhaps the most powerful of all, and it's only for those who try out ED Eliminator. It is not for the general public. I sat down with Michael Stefano, the legendary Hall of Fame adult film star, and got him to share his hottest personal secrets for getting it up and keeping it up with the hottest and sexiest adult film actresses in the world. During his decades in the industry, Mike was the go-to guy for the top directors because of his superhuman ability to get hard on command and go for hours if needed, sometimes with 2 or 3 girls at a time. Now, for the first time, the hardest working man in the adult film industry pulls back the curtain and reveals the actual techniques that he uses to deliver mind-blowing performances on and off the set. All of these reports together are valued at over $397, and other men have gladly paid that much for them. But for a limited time only, you'll get all of these reports for free when you click the button below and try out ED Eliminator risk-free. However, I cannot guarantee that this offer will still be available if you leave this page and come back. So, click the button below, fill out the secure order form, and get instant access to all of this. ED Eliminator, your guaranteed all-natural solution to reversing your ED forever. 21 ways to blow her mind, every time. Discover how to fire up any woman's engine and get her sexually addicted to you, even if you've been with her for years. Squirting Mastery. Learn this simple but little-known method, and you can also give women intensely pleasurable and wild squirting orgasms like she's never seen or felt. Be a marathon man tonight. Never worry about finishing too soon again. How to dirty talk your way to the best sex ever. Learn the simple words and trigger phrases that unleash any woman's inner nymphomaniac. And Porn Superstar Sex Secrets, which reveals the closely guarded insider tips of one of the world's greatest adult film stars. And remember, you're covered by a rock-hard, no questions asked, 60-day money-back guarantee. If at any time within 60 days of your purchase you would like a refund, for any reason, or for no reason at all, just send an email to our friendly 24-hour customer support team, and you'll get every penny back. No questions asked. I can't make this any more fair. Wouldn't you agree, Mike?
Jack, bro, believe me, I know how powerful ED Eliminator is. Honestly, I think you're giving this away for way too cheap.
I do too, Mike. But right now, my goal is to help as many men as possible, and that's why I'm making it as easy as possible to access this information. You won't have to wait for a package in the mail either. This program is all digital, so you'll get immediate access to it on your computer or your mobile device. And don't worry if you're not the type of guy who's handy with computers or mobile phones. I'm sure not. So I made this brain dead simple enough for any guy to get their materials. Just click the button below to complete your order. And by the way, if you didn't know this already, women have a tendency to not keep secrets. Chances are your wife or girlfriend talks openly about your sex life with their girlfriends. Well, I've experienced firsthand what happens when your partner starts bragging to her girlfriends over a few glasses of wine about what an animal you are in bed and how she can't keep her hands off of you. And this is when her single friends tend to, well, they start showing you a little more attention. Now, everybody's sex life is a little different, and I would never judge you, so I hope you don't judge me. But my wife Sandra showed me a side of her that I never thought existed after she invited one of her recently divorced friends over for some wine. Her name was Tiffany. At first, it was just like any normal night, except Tiffany was being extra touchy-feely with me. After a couple glasses, my wife suggested we all take a dip in the small backyard pool we have, which sounded fine to me. After all, it was a particularly hot and humid night, which was about to get even hotter. Before I knew it, Sandra stripped down to her birthday suit, and so did Tiffany. I just stood there at first, shocked as if this was some kind of strange joke. But they just giggled, jumped in the pool, and asked me to join them. Now, I'll leave the rest up to your imagination. And again, I don't know what you're into, but after that first encounter, this has become a much more regular occurrence. So, be warned, when you start blowing your partner's mind with your renewed sexual vigor and your intense rock-hard erections, you may start to receive unexpected attention from her friends, and you may even see a different, more wild side to your partner. My erections have brought out a side of my wife that I never knew existed, and I've received more unsolicited attention from women than I ever have in my entire life. Claim your copy of the ED Eliminator program, risk-free, to experience this for yourself and naturally regain your erections and youthful stamina and vitality using ancient secrets that have been hidden from you until now. Right now, you have a critical decision to make. In fact, it's one of the most important decisions you'll ever make in your life. This decision impacts the future of your sex life and your relationship, or future relationship, with your partner. You could leave this presentation right now and do nothing, but your problems are only going to get worse. Trust me, I know. Eventually, it will come to a point where you simply are incapable of getting it up anymore, and sex will become nothing but a distant memory as your body begins to kill itself off. I don't know about you, but I don't want that, and I know you don't either. Grab this opportunity and simply click the button below to reverse your ED forever. This will make you a peak sexual performer, blowing the mind of every woman you sleep with, whether it's your long-term lover or a one-night stand if you're single. For me, it's all about my wife, and our relationship has never been better. Listen, ED doesn't have to be the end. I know how it feels to be emasculated, to feel worthless, to cry into your pillow at night because your dick is basically dead. But right now, you stand on the threshold of having the hottest, most intense, and satisfying sex of your life. But you have to take action now. When you think about it, the choice you face right now is really no choice at all, because you don't want to keep spiraling down towards total impotence and risk losing your manhood, your relationship, and your life. If you're in a relationship right now, your ED has already started to make her pull away on the inside, and she's likely already begun plotting her escape. She may love you, she may love your relationship, she may openly say everything's fine, but like my wife said on that internet post on that fateful day, she's dying on the inside. A woman's mind is her orgasmic center, and when you are unable to keep it up long enough to please her, she can't help but take it personally and blame herself, even though it pains you. It's her that feels rejected. And make no mistake, she will run into the arms of another man to soothe that pain and feel desired once again. But that doesn't have to be your reality. All you have to do is click the button below, and you'll be able to immediately change your path and become a sexual god among men. That's what ED Eliminator does for you. Imagine long, adventurous sex, the sexual confidence of knowing you will last and can get hard as steel whenever you want. Being able to come and stay hard just to come and come some more. The only truly proven and effective way to cure your ED is waiting for you inside ED Eliminator. So, just click the button below. Remember, you're risking absolutely nothing. If for any reason you and your lover aren't completely satisfied with the astonishing results you get from this program, you can email us anytime within the next 60 days, and we will immediately refund your money without asking a single question. You can even keep all the materials plus the bonuses as my way of saying thanks for at least giving it a try. That's how confident I am that this will work for you. Tonight or tomorrow morning, depending on when you're watching this, you'll be on your way to making your first stiffy tea and blowing the mind of your wife or girlfriend and never experiencing ED symptoms again as long as you live. Take a long, hard look at the two paths in front of you right now. On the left, you see pain, misery, a limp dick, a lack of confidence, a broken relationship, and a dying body. On the right, you have supreme confidence, thick, firm, bulging erections whenever you want them, a healthy, adventurous, enthusiastic sex life, a woman who admires, respects, and brags about you, and is most of all, unquestionably loyal to you, and only you. We both know which path you want and deserve. And to take that path, you simply need to click the button below this video to get started. Do that now and buckle in. You're about to take the ride of your life. I'll see you on the inside. Still here? I figure you might still have a question about ED Eliminator, so let me answer some of the most common questions we get. How safe is this, and are there any side effects? ED Eliminator is absolutely 100% natural and safe. Although there are side effects, most users say these side effects are pleasurable and welcome. Like, in addition to being able to get completely rock hard whenever you want with an increase in libido, you may also find yourself much more energized with a better ability to think on your feet. Also, many of the elements that go into your stiffy tea have been proven through rigorous research to lower blood pressure and reduce your risk of heart disease. This, combined with the other supplementary information you'll receive in this groundbreaking system, actually benefits the entirety of your body and health. You said this is a digital product, so how do I get it exactly? Digital means you can view all of it immediately, on your screen. You don't need to wait for a package in the mail. You can be learning all these secrets just 60 seconds from now. And if you want, you can print everything out. Some guys prefer to read the information this way. It's up to you. So don't worry at all if you're not the type of guy who's handy with computers or mobile phones. I made this brain dead simple enough for any guy to get started with this right away. I'm worried this product will make me too excited and give me premature ejaculation. If it's been a while since you've had the super stiff rock-hard erections of your youth, there's a chance that this new surge of libido and increased penile sensitivity may give you a bit of a hair trigger at first. However, well over 90% of the men who have used ED Eliminator report a drastically reduced refractory period, which means after they ejaculate, they are ready to go again almost immediately. And our users say that round 2 is usually even better than the first and lasts anywhere from 30 minutes to 2 hours. So, you have nothing to worry about. How long will it take until I see results? Incredibly, many men begin to notice that long-forgotten tingling sensation within a few minutes, and that's just the first notification of things to come. If you're sipping your stiffy tea for the first time, you should be feeling ready to take care of business in about an hour. As you begin taking this formula on a daily basis and following the routine and program outlined in the ED Eliminator system, your erections will happen faster and more frequently. You'll be able to get it up when it's time, every time, with a rock-hard erection, without sipping your stiffy tea an hour beforehand. Just take it in the mornings like a vitamin, and your ED will be reversed. One dose will last approximately 18 hours. It's important to note that if you want to have sex more than 3 times a day, you may need to take 2 doses. Will I get erections at awkward times? Do you remember what it was like before your ED, when you were surging with testosterone and had a healthy appetite for sex? Well, part of the territory that comes with the return of that virility and stamina is the occasional unwelcomed erection. You may find yourself getting an erection at the mere thought of sex, or if you see a beautiful woman. You will likely start waking up with rock-hard morning wood, like the old days. No worries, this is completely natural, just like it was then. So, how should you handle this? Well, I don't know about you, but for me, and many of the men who have written to me about their outstanding results from this system, I wouldn't really refer to this as a problem. I mean, what guy our age wouldn't want to be ready and hungry for sex every morning, and be able to get hard again on command, anytime, day or night? Will this make my penis bigger? Because this stiffy tea formula and the other routines outlined throughout the system will dramatically increase the blood flow to your penis, the answer is yes. It will get bigger. It will get as big as it possibly can. Many men, including myself, have had their partner ask questions like, "Did it get bigger?" Or say, "Wow, it looks way bigger than normal." Well, here's the thing. Your penis won't actually add extra inches. What it will do is become fully engorged, probably for the first time in a long time. Once your penis size gets that full surge of blood and stiffens to its maximum size, it will appear bigger than your partner remembers, and you may hardly recognize it yourself. Either way, it's all good. Will ED Eliminator help stop the natural penis shrinkage that happens with age? Research demonstrates that the best and most reliable way to stop your penis shrinking as you age is to simply have frequent erections. You know the old saying, use it or lose it? Well, that's absolutely true. If you sit down all day, your muscles atrophy and break down over time. And if your dick just flaps around like a sock puppet in the wind without ever getting hard, it's going to shrink. So, as you follow the simple steps in ED Eliminator and drink your stiffy tea, and wake up with morning wood and get erections on demand throughout the day and night, you will not have to worry about penis shrinkage because your man muscle will be getting regular workouts and only getting stronger. How hard to find are the ingredients? Does it take a lot of work to make? Inside this system, I'll tell you exactly where to find the ingredients for your stiffy tea, and you can order it for less than 50 cents a day straight to your doorstep from a location that barely anybody knows about. Some other ingredients that go into your stiffy tea can be found at your local health food store. All in all, it should only take you one short shopping trip to get everything you need for an entire month. And you can make the simple brew in the morning in less than 10 minutes while you catch up on the news, check your email, or look over your schedule for the day. It's that easy. Is this safe to download on my computer? I don't want any viruses. This digital product is 100% safe and secured through advanced encryption technology. And not only is it safe, we've made sure that your privacy is completely protected. Your billing statement will simply say ClickBank, which is the name of the online retailer that sells this product. Nothing about ED or ED Eliminator will appear on there. I'm not old. Will this system help a younger guy like me? Indisputable research from some of the world's most prestigious universities confirm that men are experiencing the first stages of ED at a younger and younger age. Nod your head if you've ever experienced any of the following symptoms: not waking up with a morning erection, occasional inability to get or maintain an erection, even in a sexual situation, inability to ejaculate during sex or masturbation, frequent premature ejaculation followed by a loss of your erection, only being able to ejaculate once during sex with no ability to get another erection after at least 30 minutes, weak dribbling ejaculations, decreased sexual appetite, performance anxiety. It doesn't matter whether you're 25 or 75. If you've encountered any of those problems, I urge you to try ED Eliminator today, and you might as well, because it's completely risk-free, and you have absolutely nothing to lose. I would also warn you not to wait. The longer you wait to take care of your ED, using the information inside ED Eliminator, the worse it's going to get. I've bought pills and other products that promised to help with my erections, but they didn't work. I'm skeptical. Okay, let me ask you a question. Have you ever, in your entire life, heard of Yartsa Gunbu, or the Flaming Thunderbolt religion, and the erect penis worship of the country of Bhutan? With almost everybody I talk to, the answer is no, because the Chinese government has put a stranglehold on this 100% natural, 100% effective ED cure, and jacked up the price so high, a single pound would cost an entire year's salary for most people. So I can promise you, it doesn't matter what other pills or products you've tried, you have never tried this. I've found the source of what is quite possibly the only cordyceps strain in the United States that mirrors Yartsa Gunbu almost exactly, and it costs you less than 50 cents a day to use. And after extensive testing, it has worked virtually without fail for over 16,000 men. Nobody else has this information. And listen, I want to remind you that you're not risking anything. Remember, you have 60 days to use this information, and if at any point in the next 60 days you decide you want your money back for any reason, I will give it to you, no questions asked. Your payment will be refunded within 3 business days, and you'll still get to keep the system. So even if you think ED Eliminator might sound too good to be true, you can at least try it out at zero risk to you. Okay, so those are the most common questions I get asked about ED Eliminator. I hope that whatever question was holding you back from clicking the button below this video and getting instant access has been answered. And if you're still making your decision and wondering if this is right for you, the only way to know is to click the button below and try it for yourself. You have nothing to lose with my no questions asked 60-day money-back guarantee. As for what you have to gain, well, let's start with daily rock-hard erections, explosive ejaculations, a bigger, harder penis, the ability to come over and over again while keeping your erection, a renewed relationship with your wife or girlfriend. If you're single, the ability to bring any girl home and screw her brains out, making her utterly addicted to you. No more performance anxiety as long as you live, a longer life, and the list goes on. For the price of ED Eliminator, you could have dinner for one at a decent restaurant, and by decent I mean something like Red Lobster or Olive Garden, or you may be able to fill up your gas tank one time. But I assure you, neither of those two things are going to make your dick harder or your woman any happier. Look, no other system in the world contains the information inside ED Eliminator, which has been proven to completely obliterate ED once and for all. No popping some $20 pill and waiting 20 minutes just to suffer through mediocre sex with a throbbing headache. No more shame, no more disappointment, no more emasculation. All you need to do is click the big button below this video, and all of that ends right now. You'll get immediate access to ED Eliminator, knowing that you're covered by a 60-day, no questions asked money-back guarantee. Tonight, you can have the steel-hard erections that'll make any woman hot, wet, and horny, and have her begging you to screw her brains out. And from now on, she'll be addicted to the mind-blowing multiple orgasms you give her anytime you want to rock her world. Now is the time to turn back the clock and restore your manhood to catapult you back to your masculine prime and give you limitless energy, stamina, and dominant sexual power. Click the button below and let's get started.